Game number one, Belgium versus Sweden. The Swedes are currently looking very, very strong in the group stage here at the Nexus contest. In fact, they already won both of the games they played so far. They're pretty safe to make it out of the group. For Belgium, on the other hand, there's a lot on the line here because they need to win against Sweden now to hope to make it into second place. Because if now Sweden takes down Belgium as well, then it's more or less already sure that Sweden and the UK will advance out of the group. The UK, they play another match later on today. Personally, I'm really looking forward to it because so far the UK has been very impressive and way better than I expected them to be. So it was very pleasant to watch the games that they play here. But yeah, for Belgium, there's a lot that hinges on it. Sweden, of course, wants to win too, because if they win here, then they're guaranteed to have first spot in the group. And as we already talked about a couple of days ago, if you are having your first seed within the group, you have a much easier opponent in the next round of the tournament when we're heading into the bracket phase, into the round of 8. So that's something that you definitely are going to try and accomplish. And for Belgium, that's going to be difficult, but Sweden dropped a few maps in the past. They dropped a map, for example, to the UK. And Belgium and the UK had a very, very epic battle between each other. In terms of bans, Maiev immediately taken out. We have also the ban on Zeratul, pretty much an old favorite to ban him out. Too much combo potential with him. And of course he can also start to really threaten the squishies in the backline. Garrosh banned out with that on top of it. And now the question, Dehaka. Okay, I like it. Actually like targeting on Infernal Shrines, more so the global rotations and also the wave clear that he offers. But personally, I could have totally seen a ban on Diablo. I could have seen them try and take maybe even Tyrande away. Then again, Infernal Shrines obviously has a variety of very strong supports that you can play here. Malfurion can control with the roots the choke points. You have Alexstrasza with the dragon form. We have seen White Mane here. Scarlet Aegis can be great when you're playing on the objective. But we have the early pick into players with the offlane targeted by Belgium. Sweden is just saying Blaze immediately. Gives us a survivability on the shrine itself. And with Blaze now picked in the first and early position, they could even consider going into Tyrael as their main tank and layer Sanctification with Bunker and make a play around that. So they don't have to go into, let's say, Diablo or Johanna. And here's Tyrande and Hanzo. Interesting combo. I mean, they definitely wanted to have Hanzo, I assume. And now that they had a chance to go for Tyrande, they take her too. But they still need a hero to combo her stuns off with if they really want to rely on that style. And that now means that they can go into an Uberak, they can still get Diablo. I would expect one of them to be taken away, picked maybe now, and then another one banned. You can also run it with Johanna. But there's the Tyrael, as expected, the Tyrael and Blaze composition. The combo with the layered defenses, Bunker and Sanctification and Junkrat, again for the damage from the outside. But that leaves up an Uberak, that leaves up Diablo. You have still Johanna to consider. So there's already a couple of heroes that Tyrande can nicely combo off with. Probably should mention Murden too, but I don't think that you will go for Murden if you have any of the other tanks really open. Now Murden has an escape, he has a survivability, but he offers you only limited value on the shrine and the objective itself. And you need to rely heavily on that Stormbolt in order to make it work. Doesn't make it impossible that he's getting picked here, but I feel the other heroes would offer a bit more if they're trying to play a combo where they attempt to go for quick hero kills through the execution. And Diablo's banned. That leaves us with Johanna and an Uberak as likely targets or choices. But let's see how Belgium plays this. And again, first game for this. Belgium, they would also probably need a little bit more. I mean, they need more damage regardless. Jimmy is still open. You can go into a Jaina if you want to add a mage to Hanzo. A mage that we also... Oh, they go actually for Murden. Fair enough. I think that's going to force heavy rotations from them, though. Thrall at the top lane. I'm a little bit worried, to be honest with you, because I think they're a bit squishy on the front line right now if they don't add another melee. And they could add another melee, but at the same time, Murden and Thrall on the shrine. Hanzo's going to be great, but you are heavily reliant on trying to get something set up for Tyrande. And where does the damage come from? Thrall can definitely pack a bit of a punch. Can do that, but with now Rhaegar and Greymane coming in, you have good wave clear through Greymane alone. You have the Ancestral Healing. And obviously also the Lightning Shield, which is going to help to secure even more stacks towards the objective once the shrine spawns. And on the last pick, I mean, Belgium can make heavy rotations in the early game happen if they play this well. But then they would miss a bit on burst damage. Ooh. Alright, the bird. Bit unorthodox. Has the global advantage. Probably still going to play with an auto attack build. I was for a second considering if he goes into Gathering Storm and tries to have the mage build, more focus, and tries to get the stacks with Boomerang. But yeah, Belgium going to try to take the games now. Sweden is ready, and we're going to jump straight into Infernal Shrines to find out which team takes the lead here. Game number 1, Infernal Shrines, starting up as Belgium spawns to the left side of the map with Taloof on Thrall, Heiser on Muradin. We have Enabler on Falstad, Not Even Trine on Tyrande, and Kala on Hanzo. With that being said, towards the right side of the map, the Swedish team, Henning on Rhaegar, Gia on Junkrat, Berkult on Turel. We have Timeless on Blaze, and Svamgarota playing on Greymane. No choice yet on Falstad for his level 1. That's something we're going to keep an eye out. I mean, normally you would still expect him to go into the Seasoned Marksman build, but I wouldn't really put it past them to try and go for a bit of mage damage. They have 3 melees, depending on the form that Greymane is in, on the front, so they could stack, and they go into Bribe. Alright, so we're going to have a little bit of a damage increase on the Lightning Rod, but with Wingman you have the option to also bribe camps on the map, and that could potentially lead to a Shaman camp being stolen away here, depending on when they're going to play that. Interesting. It's going to be really... I'm really curious to see how much Falstad can offer in this game, because I'm a little bit worried for him in general. I spoke about it during the loading screen a bit. Falstad, I love personally playing him, and I think he's a really fun hero, but he's not really strong in the current meta, and he hasn't really been a big part of the meta for the last half year and more. At least not with a lot of success. So occasionally you still see him pick, but very rarely do you see actually a win on him. Taloof, by the way, is currently getting absolutely wrecked here. That rotation was something that he did not see coming. Wasn't apparently called out by the team, or they expected them to rotate down. But outside of the vision range, they snuck their way to the top, and then Thrall got completely blindsided by it. But now that we have Enabler and Falstad down here on the screen, I really think something that they could maybe in the future do is a few adjustments on a couple of stats alone might bring Falstad back into a zone where he is a lot more viable. And the hero offers a lot. You have the global, you have different builds that you can play. Maybe the mage build is a little bit weak right now compared with the other builds that you can execute. But just in general, it's a very unique hero to have in the game, and it was always a lot of fun to just see how many plays can be executed with a good Mighty Gust alone. So there's a lot that he offers. But that being said, let's see how exactly it's going to plan out for the blue team, how Belgium can rely on him. I mean, early on we had already the ban on Dehaka, and now we have at least 1 global in the game. But obviously the wave clear that we see is pretty huge. And that's also another thing. If you actually want to really have value from the global on Falstad, the one thing that you have to definitely do at least is to spec into Boomerang as your level 7 choice. Just so you have more wave clear on your Hammerang and can use that whenever you move to the lane to have that wave clear. If all that you rely upon is your auto attack, then you're going to be stuck on those lanes for a very long time just to push them out. Level 4 talents on both sides now. With Thrall, we're still seeing him working on his Echo of the Elements, so he's going to attempt to get that second charge before the objective spawns. Muradin with a few Storm Balls, but hasn't really landed a whole lot, only 1 connected, and that's a single stack, missing another one just as Berkult moves out of the range. And at this point we have a very nice wave clear team on the side of Sweden. This is one of the cool things if you're running the double wolf. You are able to just clear these camps very efficiently and very quickly. Both of them can do it solo, but in this case now we have the camp taken by the 2 of them together just before they move into the shrine. And that's of course now a Shaman camp that pushes topside without anybody going to be able to do anything about it unless they are happy to keep Thrall there. Falstad is taking their own, is getting 1 bribe stack through, but that's going to take a long time. And you can see that the timing for Belgium is not good. Their timing is way off, which is why we are now having a full control on the shrine from Sweden. They're starting to get the lead in the minion stacks, and Falstad isn't even here yet, is now slowly making his way in, but already the damage against Muradin. So there's a bit of a brawl happening, but Sweden takes the lead on the stacks. Now it's finally 5 versus 5, but already some heroes low. Rhaegar jumping out, jumps in with the bite, and Abler needs to be very careful. Low on mana, 50% HP for him. And it looks like it's going to be an easy punisher for Sweden. No problem whatsoever from their perspective right now. They take it. Thrall just barely completes the quest after the shrine is already over. Would have loved to have access to that as they're headed into the objective. Don't really think it would have been the biggest difference, but it might have been enough to push the opponent back a little bit, maybe even with the support of someone else, get enough damage in for a kill. Talking about potential kills, up to the top we are having an attempt to take down these towers, break through the wall, so a bit of counter damage happening towards the top, and the rotation from Sweden came in shortly after. So Sweden pushed the bot lane, or the mid lane, and realized that there was heavy pressure towards the top side, and they started to rotate 2 heroes top to try and help out with that, and maybe even take down Thrall. But Belgium this time saw it coming and rotated their own team back and said, alright guys, play this a bit safer. Good follow-up with Tyrande on the Stormbolt this time. 7 stacks now for Heiser, so a little bit more successful as the actual fights start coming up. And level 4, also to point out, Eyes in the Dark for the disengage on Greymane, who's still active on the camps. And I mean, this is something that you're going to see the entire time throughout this game, that Greymane and Rhaegar are going to be trying to take camps as much as they can. And if you look at the minimap, the one at the bottom had been taken earlier. They can now make the same rotation, the same path again, take another camps, quickly sneak that in. And so far, Belgium is not really picking up on that. I mean, they've probably seen it, but by the time they rotate in, it should already be nearly taken. Tyrande is just scouting out everything, but there's only 2 heroes around, and they can't really commit to anything. The camp is claimed too, so very little wiggle room for them to make anything happen there. When we're talking about Hanzo, he went, by the way, again into explosive arrows here. So we have like Redemption on level the sharpened arrowheads here, and then going straight into the explosive arrows. I mean, a couple of variations for the Hanzo build. In this case, we have this one used. Crossfire on 7, now also for Blaze. But a pretty significant lead in experience, considering how long the game has been going. Half a level lead at this point in time. That can lead to you getting a 10, and they're going for an attack here in the middle. Tyrande is absolutely destroyed. Gets collapsed upon, no chance for her to move out. The slows came in as well, and they're trying to get even more. They're going straight for Hanzo, barely escaping, jumping out with a trade, but that was a clutch one. And Sweden is just very dominant here. They are one of the favorite teams to take the tournament. All 4 teams that made it out of the group as first place look very strong right now. The French had some fantastic games. Sweden is looking very powerful, as expected, of course, before the tournament even began. Russia traditionally also looking strong. Germany claiming first spot in their own group. Looking a little bit memey, to be honest with you, but also showing signs of great coordination and great German efficiency. And that is probably going to make for a very, very interesting round of 8. But there's a couple of other teams outside of the top 4 that are very, very powerful. And especially the UK, for me personally, as mentioned before, is a little bit of a fan favorite right now. They showed some fantastic games with Billy on Malfurion, for example. He played absolutely fantastic. Then Tai on the damage. Li Ming, Tracer, whatever you give that guy, it seems to do insane amounts of work. But we're going to see them later on. And they were not able to take down Sweden, for example. That's definitely a lot of fun watching them. That being said, now with level 10 abilities on both sides, we're heading straight into the next shrine. Already Belgium with a slight lead here as they're moving in. Gust this time, having them already starting to move in for the fight itself, with a big lead for Belgium on the minion count. Falstad immediately under attack. Exactly what we've been talking about earlier. He needs to be careful. He is a squishy. Good Gust, even against the Riptire here. Well done by Falstad, getting everybody into a corner, but they're still trying to collapse onto Heiser on Muradin, but he doesn't die. He's able to move out, and now Timeless himself in a bit of trouble. Very low and will have to tap. Toulouf tries to go in with Thrall, but here comes the arrow just as the Sanctification is on the ground. Doesn't really connect, and now the bunker too. So they layer their defenses and they try to use it to get the Punisher, and they claim another one. Sweden, they get the Sanctification out. They played perfectly shortly after. The bunker comes in, and now we're having another Punisher in their hands. And keep in mind, this is actually something that we talked about in one of the previous matches that Sweden played, that when they are going into a Tyrael and Blaze combo, that they oftentimes missed the timing a little bit and stacked the 2 cooldowns on top of each other. So this time they played it much better coordinated, and that shows a lot of improvement on the team here already as it is. So really, really well done by them, and there is still some progress on the team, and it makes them a very fierce contender for the Nexus Contest crown. I think the group stage next week is going to be insane. It's going to be absolutely awesome. With that being said, 2 kills only so far in the game, so both of the teams really paying attention to the way that they are rotating and how they play in the team fights. We have talked about Falstad a little bit at the beginning of the game, but I want to come back to the build that he chose. So he went full in on the Lightning Rod build, having the static shield now too, which helps him a little bit more whenever Greymane is starting to jump on him, and charged up as well. So it is pretty cool to get that damage out, and especially in one-on-one situations, you're a bit more successful. Of course, a lot of that damage that could come out potentially towards the late game from that combo hinges heavily on how many of those wingman stacks is he going to use. So that's going to be super important as well. And he's going to try and make that happen, but for now, when you look towards the damage, Falstad not really bringing any big numbers. Sitting at 9,000 only, of course, I mean, competing with Hanzo is always going to be a struggle, no matter who you are. Greymane manages to do that, but barely, sitting at 18k himself. But Falstad more so looking at those one-on-one situations and a single target damage. And he's already starting to put that in here. The global that he offers is another big tool to be used, and that of course is not reflected in those numbers that we're seeing here. Level 13 talents now on both sides, and with those talents in, we have the Earthen Shield for Rhaegar. And that is fantastic if you're trying to first of all enable, let's say, Greymane, but also if you try and save a target. Ancestral Healing with a delay can be sometimes a bit iffy to actually land, but if you have your level 13 talent, you just queue the two, but one after another. You go for the Earthen Shield first, and then immediately the Ancestral Healing, and that small shield that comes out can oftentimes help you to get some. Another quick collapse onto the top lane, a good gank set up by Sweden, and that is kill number 3. Earthquake alone did not give him those Force Wolf resilience stacks that he needed to make that work. 13 talent for Falstad, by the way. The additional damage now. Full on Lightning Rod build. Full on going in on that. All the way down to the bottom. Now we're having a bit of an attempt to get some structural damage in from Belgium, but they're starting to fall behind. The top 4 has now been eliminated. After Thrall fell, they didn't rotate onto the lane to try and defend the structure. It was already a bit too late for them. So now they are also starting to lose out on the passive experience. It's not really pretty. 3 kills only, but an entire level lead already as it stands, and it just shows once again how well Sweden understands this game. They not only have great synergy in team fights and are able to get those quick skank going, but they also make very good rotations to take a structural advantage on the map itself, or, as we've seen before and see now again, have good timings around the objective or against the mercenaries. So take another one here. And let's keep in mind that with that setup with Rhaegar and Greymane, it's part of why that draft is so strong for them right now. They are totally dominating the mercenary camps on this map. They only let 2 be taken by Belgium out of the 5 continuously, and that's the one that they would have to venture heavily over into enemy territory to get them. With 16 being so close, the chances of Belgium contesting the shrine are also kind of low. And that's why we have a 4-man now at the bot lane for Belgium, saying like, guys, we need to do something. Let's start and attack this. Sweden is reacting with Gia at the bot lane and the rest of the team just saying, why would we react to you? Screw you guys. All that we do is we attack your fort now, your keep. And if you don't react, our Punisher is going to go straight in for the keep, and that is going to force these bad boys back, and that's exactly what happens. They take the fort and they immediately move away, but the wall has already fallen. Great reaction from Sweden. Arrow comes out, is scouted, called, and dodged. That would have been a good one though. Belgium connects the arrow, then they might be able to pick one on the retreat, but as it stands, that's not the case here. A quick comparison also, we have put some English on it, standard talent kind of on level 1 for a lot of Junkrats, and very different from the bouncy that we see from Germany every single time that they play with Junkrat, just as we had the game played out a little bit earlier, especially on Infernal Shrines. They really love to go into that talent choice, but here we have now a more standard build for Junkrat, going then on 16 also into the endless nades. Now, as we're talking about the level 16 talent, we have now the combo for Rhaegar with the Colossal Totem on level 1, increasing the area and range, and then Earthgrass Totem on level 16. This is where the talent choice really comes into play, and when you get a lot out of it. Once that you have that, you have basically another stun available to you. Very similar. Bullet comes out, Heiser eats the damage right away, and this is an Arcane Punisher, and those Arcane Sentries are not joking around at all. Taluf in trouble, but gets the Earthquake through, and the keep is already falling. They're looking for kill, jet propulsion, and Muradin in trouble. Heiser moving away, but getting jumped by Svamgrotta on his Greymane again. The keep is down. Sweden can easily move away from this one. A little bit more damage from Khaldor, but there was just nothing that Belgium could do about that keep. Especially with the wall already opened up. Trying to go for the Stormbolt here and actually landing that. Okay. There's another quick shot as the ult comes out from Swarmgrotta and the Cursed Bullet. They're going in again. They're trying to force the fight right now. They're on 16 talents. It's one of the best fights they're gonna get. But Heiser is low and might even fall here. Riptire comes in, isolates him even more. And down goes Muradin. Muradin is dead. They go for the counter kill and they drop Rhaegar. Rhaegar is down and that is Belgium fighting back here. Falstad low, everybody else too, especially the poke damage coming from Junker now becoming a problem. And Swarmgrotta himself on Greymane, of course, adding to that as well. Good fight. And Falstad flies down to the map, tries to get a bit more experience. Maybe even stealing the entire camera away. Does he have the stacks? He goes for it, and this is a little bit greedy by him. This could backfire very, very quickly. Already 3 heroes on the way. And yeah, there is just no chance for Falstad to get this. He will have to walk out of it and, yeah, gets followed there for a second. But now with Khaldor being around, unlikely that they're going to be able to stop them here. Also, level 16 choices we have outside of the Thunderstorm for Thrall. We're seeing now the Airy Gust taken, so a little bit more nimble on the map. And Dwarf Launch over Stoneform. Not quite sure what to make of that particular choice. Now, it makes it a little bit easier for you to move out of a fight or just to engage heavily into a backline. But at the same time, you're missing out on a lot of sustain that you have. And with Bullet chosen for Greymane, it always feels to me like right now Stoneform would probably be quite nice for him. I like the trap though. Really nice trap. They have to go and try and get that kill though. Great move. Immediately the cleanse. Rhaegar goes for the cleanse. Oh my god, bunker, and they also get the quick ancestral through as Battle.net again is excited as well, and I can't blame it. I would be excited too. So a little bit of a hiccup here from Battle.net as it just looks at this game and says like, oh my god, what is happening here? It was such a great trap, but then it backfires. What a play by Sweden. Totally understandable. This is an exciting situation also for our dear platform. Even Hanzo falls, and with that quick quad kill, we're now seeing a move straight for the core. Fantastic play here on the side of Sweden. Really well done by them. The trap by Belgium backfires as Rhaegar reacts within a second. Not even using the Sanctification, can drop it now on the core as they're going for the first victory in the best of 3 series. Job well done. Congratulations to Sweden for the lead and the 8 kills, 2-1 here on Infernal Shrines. Game number 2, Volskaya Foundry, is going to be our second map, and we have Sweden in the lead. Also, again, while we're heading into this, for everybody that is currently catching the series on YouTube, apologies to those lags that we have in the client. That's unfortunately nothing that I can fix on my end. That is a Battle.net issue here today, apparently. Talked to some of the other casters and players, and like roughly half of them experienced the exact same thing. As long as it only happens once or twice a game, we're going to be good, but just in case that you're wondering what exactly was going on there, that seems to be a Battle.net issue of the day. That being said, good game already from Sweden in the first game. I mean, Belgium, again, there's a lot riding on it for them, but we have now Maiev banned out as they are behind in the series. They had a couple of good ideas. I really liked the way that they were setting this trap up on Infernal Shrines towards the end of the game, but then, I mean, Rhaegar really made the play there. The second Blaze gets attacked and the stuns keep coming in, Rhaegar just drops right away the cleanse. That helps Blaze already out, then goes in with the Ancestral, and Blaze even makes sure that it goes through by him quickly dropping the bunker too. And then from there on, they could just take everyone apart since it was more of a choke point find. But the idea behind it to just set up this trap was actually pretty cool from Belgium. I like that as a bit of a, I don't want to quite call it a Hail Mary, but it was a really nice touch that they had there. Didn't work out though. And now we're heading into Volskaya Foundry with Malfurion already being banned out. This is another map where we oftentimes see plays along the lines of Inuburak with an engage, but obviously another hero that is really powerful here is Blaze because he allows you to stay longer on the objective and therefore try and claim that protector. So I would still expect him to make it in. The Zeratul bans are also starting to become a very regular thing. I mean, we have seen the continuous bans against Maiev, but Zeratul is very high up here in the ban pattern now too, just because with Jaina you can always set up so much damage. You can go into an apocalypse afterwards, and there's a lot of other things as well that really work out quite nicely. Johanna first, wow. I mean, she is good on Volskaya, but that priority is a little bit high. Especially with Diablo still being around, plays up on the map. Not sure if that was really the play to go for Johanna as the first pick. She is good in Volskaya, no doubt about that at all. But it seems to be a little bit of a high priority considering what else is still available. And Tyrael and Hanzo are right away taken. Very good chances that we're going to see a Blaze again if they get their hands on it. But now we're still having the double pick for their opponent. And Belgium, for example, could now say, like, you know what, we're going to take Blaze for ourselves. We're going to take Blaze now. Then we have the bunker. We have Johanna. Super cool frontline for us already as it stands. And then we're just going to make sure this is going to be easy as. And yeah, with that, there's Blaze. Me likey. Good choice. And Alarak. Ooh, okay. Making it spicy a little bit here. Getting Alarak in for the combos. Of course, also the displacement with the telekinesis that you have. In terms of bans, I mean, you can still ban out, like, one of the supports if you are Sweden. They haven't taken their own support yet either, but if you ban one out and now pick your support in the next rotation, you're limiting the options of your opponent quite a bit. Malfurion is already gone, so that would make that work. We have Deckard Cain still around, that would be good here. You can go into a Tranda setup, but they're banning Nazebo. A little bit worried about potential late game match against Belgium and them just running a late game composition and attempting to complete Nazebo's baseline quest and then get the damage in against the more squishy lineup. I think that could also indicate a bit of what they're going to try and do as their healer choice. If they have someone that struggles just getting the numbers out in the long run or in the team fight against, like, in an AoE perspective, then that would of course work too. And Belgium with the ban on Greymane. Swampgrother played a great game. Greymane in the last game. He definitely did. A lot of damage against the front line in particular. Muradin had a lot of trouble whenever Swampgrother went ham. And here comes our double pick. And with Blaze now gone, how exactly is Sweden going to react? They have Tyrael. They can still play Tyrael in offlane position if they would want to. We've seen that a few times now. And this is not necessarily a map where you have to rotate between two lanes. In that case, Tyrael would lose quite a bit of momentum because he doesn't have the AoE to make it work. And there's Arthas. Alright, so a little bit more of a tanky option now that Blaze is gone. You have Arthas for the control with slows, and of course Rhaegar with a 2. Could lead to a Raynor on the last choice, because your ace in the hole would proc not only from the totem, but also from Arthas and his frozen wastes. And that wouldn't be too bad. He has also a lot of targets that he can attack at the opponent's front line, considering that they're already running 3 melee heroes. And now Belgium with Stukov, and they take Jimmy away. Alright, no Jimmy for you. Stukov for the silence. It's actually a pretty sick setup. If you get a good combo off from Alarak into a Stukov silence and a follow-up by Blaze or Johanna with condemns and stuns, that is a lot of CC that can be a massive, massive issue for anyone that gets caught in it. And you have Reyna in there as well. And Sweden is already hesitant on the last pick. I'm pretty sure they wanted to get Reyna if they could with the Arthas combo. And instead, they are going to head now into Junkrat again. Gia probably on Junkrat once more. Volskaya Foundry, everybody. Let's head straight into the game and see if Belgium is able to win one and force game 3, or if Sweden is again victorious and claims a 2-0 victory here. Game number 2, Sweden is in the lead, and to the left you have Belgium spawning with Toulouf on Blaze, not even trying on Stukov, Heiser on Johanna, and Abler on Reyna, and Kala on Alarak. To the right side, the Swedish team in red with Henning on Rhaegar, for the second time in a row now, Backhood on his Tyrael, Svampgrother on Hanzo, Gia on Junkrat, and Timeless on Arthas for the offlane. So we're going to be in for a bit of a doozy here. It's an interesting comp that Belgium plays. Very heavy on melee heroes, but very powerful too. There's a lot of great follow-up options whenever Alarak gets a combo through. Or he can simply wait for someone like Blaze to make an engage happen with a good jet propulsion. And then drop the opponents with a good combo. And of course Jimmy is sitting behind all of this and saying like, hey, thanks boys for all the space. I am going to drop names now. Level 1, no lurking arm build on the side of Stukov. Instead, Pop and Pustules has been taken by him. So, bit of a different priority for them. I could have totally seen them go full into a lurking arm build instead and trying to get those silences out whenever a combo is set up by one of the frontliners. But of course you get also the slows through that, and that really helps Jimmy. I mean, Jimmy in general is already going to have decent damage output in my opinion, just because you are running it with Blaze and the oil spill, and Johanna with Condemn and Punish can also do a lot here. But that adds a little bit more, and the more you can proc your ace in the hole, the better for the general damage output. The 15% extra damage are nothing really to sneeze on, so that's going to be pretty solid. Solo lane at the board with Aloof going up against Timeless. The wave clear of Blaze already working, as you can see, easily pushing that out. And both of the teams with the immediate rotation towards the camp. I mean, oftentimes people are saying like, hey, what do I learn watching these games? And this is a really good indicator, for example. For a lot of people it's already being obvious, but just look at the timing. We are just barely entering the game. It's a minute in and they immediately rotate towards those camps. Now, if you take those camps early, the big advantage that you have to that is, first of all, the sooner you take the camp, the sooner you can make sure that your opponent is not grabbing the biotic emitter, because you're going to be ready to move in. If a team, for example, delays picking the turret up and their opponent takes it right away, then they can rotate top. One team is going to be still busy taking the turret camp and the other team is going to get this one. If you try to interrupt the other team and you leave your own turret camp open, you will basically end up in a stalemate situation where your opponent adds into the first objective with an item advantage that you don't really want to give to them. On top of that, because you take those turrets early in the game, the turrets are going to be respawning when the objective is being fought over. So you can then, from the objective at some point, make a quick rotation here, take the camp again, and then have another turret available for you to move in. So it's really important to take those early and not delay them for too much, because it offers you just more. So in case that you guys weren't really aware of that particular style, that's definitely something to be pointing out here. And something that we always talk about when you get the first Punisher or the first Protector, you always want to move to the top lane. You might want to try and take down the turrets here, but the important goal is to move to the top lane and drop the fountain here, because the second objective always spawns topside, and if you take that fountain away and you still hold on to yours, you will have a better position heading into the second objective outside of the talent advantage, or sorry, the level advantage that you should pick up by winning the first Protector. So just a few things to be considered here. Level 4 with a vigorous reuptake, so very heavily focus into the bio kill switch right now. Trying to get even more healing hours by not even trying. And again, it's not quite the build that you usually see on that hero. Nice combo against Swamp Grotta, but Henning keeps himself in the back, and there's another tip also for Rhaegar players. You don't have to go and bite. You can stay in the back where you belong and only try and commit to a melee attack if you can really drop a target, but outside of that you want to stay safe, and that's exactly what Henning does. He's trying to stay safely in the back, make sure that he can get those cleanses out later on, and the heals, and again the engaged Taluf missing the jet propulsion though. The follow-up attempt that we're seeing from Sweden with a quick lockdown against Taluf, even the silence with the lurking arm can't prevent that. First turrets already on the point, both of them fighting over it, and a nice stack also on the items here. And another kill secured. Double kill with Blaze and Alarak going down. Level 7 in the hands of Sweden. Both of the camps, by the way, as we've been talking about them, are now ready again. And that's exactly that timing that I talked about earlier. Now both of the teams can make that rotation again and can say, okay, grab another item. And just look at this. They're immediately doing it. They win the objective, they leave one hero to still claim it, and then they quickly take another turret. And we're already seeing the exact same move on the other side, where Belgium has said, okay guys, let's take a quick breather here, take our turret, and then we can make a second try to go for the objective. Currently on the progress, it's 41 points against 59, but you only have to try and contest it once there's the 99% on it. Both of them on even talents now. Junkrat isn't here yet, but already a little bit of zoning happening. Also getting the continuous totem out to just slow the progress. I mean, you have the frozen wastes on top of that too. Already an early Johanna Iron Skin needs to be very careful. That's a big cooldown to burn at the beginning of the fight that quickly, as we are seeing them move in. Turrets on the ground, and Heiser is in a bit of trouble. Needs to move away from this one. Taluf is also eating a lot of random damage here, especially since Junkrat is just getting the grenades through the entire time. Johanna low and on the retreat. And as we are seeing Stukov trying to get the lurking arm through, Junkrat reacts immediately. Nice attempt by Kala on the Alarak to get a kill, but it's instead Blaze that falls, and that is kill number 3 for Sweden, as they are doing work. First Protector in their hands, an entire level lead, Rhaegar already in it, and Arthas right away down to the bottom of the map onto the solo lane. So what we're very likely going to see here is trying to take down the wall a little bit, get some damage in. Junkrat is already pushing out the wave in towards the top, and once that the wall is done, the Protector is going to start rotating topside. Exactly what you see right now. So the wall is quickly taken, Protector moves top, and now the whole idea is drop the Fountain. The more you can kill, the better. I mean, if you can take the fort, obviously you want that too, but it's all preparation for objective number 2. And in the meantime, we have a fight down here at the bottom where the jet propulsion hits Arthas, and he hits him hard. But Enabler on his Reyna has already fallen pretty low since Swamp Grotta immediately used the opportunity with a free shot that he got to take Reyna down a notch. Abilities that we're having now with level 7 and level 10, we're seeing Riptire in play. We don't have an ult for Tyrael yet, but I would be shocked to not see Sanctification taken on this map. Heiser is low. And yeah, there's the arrow and the Riptire. Beautiful combo once again by Sweden. The coordination that they're showcasing right now is absolutely fantastic. The Fountain down, the wall gone. Big level lead for them, and of course allows them to take another item. Item control on Volskaya Foundry is absolutely key. If you head into an objective with 2 or 3 items over your opponent, it's a fantastic position to be in, and you will always have the upper hand. But now, level 10 abilities are in the hands of both players. And with that, or both teams, with that we're having Bunker. We're also having on the side of Stukov the massive shove. Could definitely allow them to get one of the heroes out of the fight. But even more tickle damage against the fort right now. So this is like this bit of power play when you see your opponent is not reacting right away. There's nobody here, they push in, they don't commit to the fort, but they have it now already at 60% HP, and that's just simply because they realize, hey, our opponents are late, they don't even soak the wave right now, let's move in, drop a little bit of damage, don't overcommit, and take it from there. Tyrael getting attacked here. Oh, backhold with a place. Taluf with actually a very heads-up combo, getting the jet propulsion here to the right side. Ancestral is in. Sanctification on the ground. The bunker being used, but that could be a disaster for Belgium. They start to try and get the counter aggression in. We already have some items on the ground, but it's Johanna that falls, and currently Belgium just can't get a kill. And Sweden is still on the move. They're going for Stukov, and they deliver a second blow to the blue team. Tyrael falls, but they're going to make it a trade anyways. Already Blaze died. It's a 3-for-1 trade. And now even the attempt by Hanzo to, with a quick scatter arrow, try and take down Enabler, which didn't quite work out for them. But now it's, of course, just open hunting season once more. 7 kills against 2. Level 13 versus level 11, nearly 12. Another item to be grabbed on the map. And in the meantime, the top is also pushing very, very heavily with the camp that was taken earlier. Sweden with great plays here. I like that Belgium was trying to get the kill against Tyrael, but Bakul played this perfectly. Taluf was actually not trying to hit Tyrael with a precision strike. He was trying to wait for the Eldruins to come out and then hit the position where Tyrael is going to pop out. But the timing just barely didn't work out. Bakul played it perfectly, avoided the stun, and could therefore move behind the wall, and that just bought enough time for his team to rotate in. Rhaegar to drop the Ancestral Healing. And a big shout out to Henning here. We've been highlighting so many players, and especially it's the damage dealers, of course, that normally catch our eye. But Henning is doing solid work. Another great arrow coming also from Swamp Grotta, and that's another kill. 8 kills against 2. I guess make that 9, because Taluf is not going to escape from here either. Great play here again. Sweden is just proving how strong they actually are. This is just fantastic performance here. And they're going straight into the middle and can now head into the objective towards the top side. They have a 1.5 level lead. They have a big item advantage over their opponent. They have taken that fountain out earlier that we've been talking about. And Henning, as I said before, is just absolutely delivering. The cleanses are always there. He's keeping himself safe. The team doesn't have to do anything to really save him. And here it comes again. They go for another quick kill, even popping the army so that it eats the shot of the fort. Another lockdown against... Yeah, can they get the kill here? They might be. Yeah, they go straight in against Stukov, but this time he's able to walk away. No! Berkul with a kill, and Rhaegar helps out with the lightning shield damage. Reyna is down to the bottom of the map trying to get an item, but you can really tell how this is currently going. It's just Sweden running the show. They are doing a fantastic... I mean, they are playing extremely well. There's a reason why Sweden is amongst the teams that are favorites to win the tournament, or at least to make it into the final rounds. We've been talking about the French team quite a bit and the Russians, but now we're having Sweden just showcasing once again why they are also in this group of names. Nearly, they have basically 2-level lead at level 16 at this point. And it's tough. I mean, you have now the endless nades on Junkrat as well, as if the guy wasn't a problem before already. And now you have also the Earthgrass Totem as another tool for Hailing to shine and to help out with the damage output here. Talking about damage, let's take a quick look here at the numbers. It was 35,000 on the side of Hanzo against the 23k that we're seeing from Alarak. And then if you bring, of course, Junkrat into play too, we're having 32k for him. It's just a fantastic performance all in all from them. And now there's the second protector. And now, of course, you have to make your choice. What do you go for? And they seem to be making the play for the keep. And you can't really blame them. 2 levels ahead, having the extra talent, and the fort is already destroyed. Why would you waste your time in the middle of the map and try and go for another fort if you can just simply take the keep and maybe even on the retreat get another structure mid lane? So they are definitely running this now pretty solid. Going in again, looking for those kills, and immediately jumping on Jimmy here. Ooh, yeah. Enabler needs to be a bit careful on Jimmy, but they're burning down the Protector quite nicely. So you have to give it to Sweden. They're fighting for every inch of the map here. And big damage against Taluf on the other hand, and he's eating a lot of that. Has to use the jet propulsion to get out of harm's way. That was a close call there. The keep might not even fall, but it's slow. It's slow, and they're still poking. Poking a lot actually. Taluf has to be very cautious, and they can't take the keep. Might still be able to push this in after the Protector expires, but for the time being they're just attempting to keep it alive for as long as they can to at least use the abilities here and wait maybe for an engage. Nice shove that we're seeing from Stukov. Protector still firing away, gets some damage in against Heiser, yep, and they're hit after hit, hitting either the keep or the heroes, and everybody's still staggering along. Are they going to stay here? Are they going to try and poke with Junkrat? She is getting a couple of grenades through, but they are not able to get the keep just yet. But they're still sieging up. And for very good reason. I mean, they still have a massive lead over their opponent. But here comes an attempt to go straight for a flank. But already Gia was expecting exactly that type of play and sets themselves up against it. Quest completed now also from Arthurs, who completes his level 1 quest. It's going to help him, of course, heavily too. Synergy with 13. They're moving out of it. For now, Belgium holds. For now, they hold. They've held on to the keep, and that's actually not a small feat considering how far behind they were. Now they have even talents again, and they're trying to at least play around that. And with even talents, I mean, at least we're going to have a bit more survivability for Jimmy, so that's good. Johanna going into the Holy Renewal, so that's more sustainability for her. Also great since Stukov doesn't have to focus on her all that much. But items, that's the next big question. Henning still holds on to 1 healing beacon, and that is great. 2 turrets on the opponent's side. We have currently a bit of a turret lead on Belgium's side, but it's all about the next objective here. And also, that healing beacon, that's going to be a big one, because this is still something where Sweden is currently thinking, we're gonna force this, boys. I mean, they have Sword of Justice and Burning Halo as the talent, so there's no holy ground that Tyrael can toy around with to try and take the position here. So that doesn't really help him. But that again, on 16, we're now also seeing the Remorseless Winter, and that is actually a fantastic talent for just control during a team fight whenever Timeless walks straight into the backline, and he's been running them down quite heavily. So that's a massive problem whenever he's able to make it onto Jimmy in particular. Now again, Reyna of course has now also his 16, and that helps him a lot with not only the damage output but also the sustain. Penetrating rounds are a very important tool for him, trying to keep Arthurs at arm's length. But here comes the arrow onto the heroes. Nice, they go for Alarak, they're trying to get the hit here, and there comes the attack against Stukov. Alarak trying to survive. He's already being zoned out. The turret's on the ground. They're taking position. Ancestral healing. The camp's still not taken. They're going for the beacon, but they can't get it just yet. Look at the Toulouse, though. He's so alone. He's not the only one. Jimmy dies at exactly the same time that Blaze goes down. Arthur still survives. Plays with a vision here. Another silence attempt. And the channel on Heiser. He at least gets the item onto the ground, so he steals it away from Sweden. But still, it's 4 kills against the blue team. And they are, of course, immediately orientating themselves towards the top lane, trying to take down the keep itself and maybe even going for the core. They don't have Sanctification, though, so they really have to rush it if they want to take the game at this point, and they're already moving past the final structure here. 18 seconds until Blaze is back in the game. and only Alarak is back, and this is looking tough. Even without Sanctification, the damage output is there. They're burning the shield down. They have the turrets on the ground to soak a couple of these shots too. Sweden wants to go for the quick 2-0 victory. Blaze and Reyna are back, but it is already too little too late. Sweden wins another series. They take the first spot in the group. Flawless victory. GG, and well played.